Hi, I'm Sue Ellam and I'm a professional tarot reader, and I have been for 25 years. I'm using the Mythic Tarot, which are based on Greek mythology.
And I'm Carrie Beleno. I am an intuitive Reiki master teacher and a spiritual life coach. And I've got for 20 plus years as well. And I've got questions. And today's question is a long one. If we planned our journey before we arrived here on Earth, why would anyone choose a dreadful story?
Okay.
And if you listened to yesterday, I foreshadowed this question by talking about evolving from drama and trauma. So you might want to listen to yesterday before you get to today's.
Basically, why would I choose this life?
That's for sure. I think a lot of people are asking that question right about now.
Okay, right. It's all about supporting others as well as having them support you. So sometimes we are born into certain lives in order to help someone else. It's not just all about us and our journey. For instance, as an example, we're born into a family where we've got an abusive father. But we're born into this lifetime because we've got a long soul journey with our mother. So in some ways, we can help protect her. We can help give her love when she's not getting love somewhere else. So it's not just about our experience, but it's about the experiences of the people around us. So there's a soul journey going on. So we're only one bit of the jigsaw. And also, it can be very much about our purpose. How many people who've done wonderful work come from a position of personal experience? How many women help sexually abused women because they've been rape victims themselves? How many people help with homelessness when they've had a homeless situation themselves? It's difficult. I remember a story of this man who was a Hell's Angel, and he'd been in jail, and he said he had a revelation, and he then it completely changed his life, and he became I don't know if he said he saw God but he became quite, I don't know if it was religious, but he definitely became spiritual. And he then, when he got released from prison, he would go and talk to the Hells Angels because they wouldn't have listened to anybody else, because he said he was known, he was the worst of the worst. He was so cruel, which is interesting because that was yesterday's topic. But he said he had a reputation as being, you didn't want to mess with him. And so he managed to reach so many people in the chapters, whereas they wouldn't have listened to somebody holier than thou coming straight from either missionary school or straight from the church. They think, oh, you haven't got a clue. So sometimes we have to get born into situations. Well, I think always we get born into situations where we can best fulfill our life purpose, which we don't remember. Now, not everybody does fulfill their life purpose. If you aren't strong enough, for instance, then you can get. I mean, I've had clients who've had like sexual abuse, and they are still carrying it in their 70s, 80s, and they haven't, and they've just helped. And sometimes I'm the first person they've told in all those years, and they got attacked when they were a child. So it either destroys you or makes you stronger. But there's people who've been through terrible situations who say that they actually, in hindsight, don't regret it because they've managed to do so much good with their experience. So I think I've got a saying I came across years ago: it's not life that matters, but the courage with which you face it. So I think if you're having really bad experiences, it can destroy you if you succumb to it, if you think that it's never going to get better, there's no purpose for it, and you wallow in your grief, in your trauma. But if you can get the strength to find people who can support you, or you find other people that's going through a similar thing that you can support them, then there's this feeling of purpose, that you can get past it. And whoever's done the hurting of you, they haven't won. They haven't destroyed your life. They've just made you stronger. And I'm remembering a conversation we had about the partners, the West Indian with Jamaican family I was very much a part of at one time in my life. And when they weren't able to get help from the banks, they'd go to the bank for a loan because there was a wedding or sometimes a funeral or something, and they just needed that bit of extra money, just a few £100 just for help, and the banks would say no. Which they say no to a lot of people. They seem to only give money to people who've got money anyway. So what they did, a group of each of them that they trusted, they'd put money in every month, and then every month another one person would get the whole pot. And that was the way they managed to get through life, by helping and supporting each other. So if you are in a life which is full of trauma, full of grief, look at what lessons that you're learning, how best you can help support other people, or maybe how you can stop the same thing happening to somebody else, because there is a reason, and your life purpose is attached to the life you're currently living. And again, we've got new projects, new things, people coming into your life, and this is coming in with love. So if you can find your way out of whatever, there's so many different scenarios out there, but if you can open yourself up to loving other people despite what you're going through, and be aware that some people will reject that, some people won't. But this is talking about new people coming into your life. Again, if you're helping and supporting others, you will have other people that will join you, and you can create a kind of a new family in a way, and start new projects for the benefit of many other people. How many people kind of foster children, whereas when they've had a terrible kind of childhood, they don't want it to happen to somebody else. And this is interesting because yesterday we did a thing about cruelty, and the card of confusion came up in the same position as it did, and I've shuffled well, but this is the same thing of not knowing where you're going. And I think a lot of times when people are having difficult times, they would like to have a path that they can follow, and they'd like to know every step of the way, because it's a feeling of security. Because when you're fearful about what's happening, you would like to have this really solid structure ahead, but life's not like that. What we have to do is we have to find the security and the structure within us. And this is a lot about creating kind of bonds with other people and having support from other people, because then you've got this safety net, that so whatever happens to you, other people are going to be able to help you through it, whereas you can't do that so easily when you're on your own. So just learn to just go with the flow, and if what you thought was going to happen tomorrow doesn't, no big deal. It could have been a kind of a you could have been rescued from something you didn't know you were going to get into. But just embrace the feeling of not knowing where you're going, because it's not always a bad thing. Because you will eventually, because this is a strength here, and this feeling of, okay, I've thought about all my experiences. I know where all my experiences have, the lessons I've learned. I know what my life purpose is now. And okay, I know my path. Now I'm going to walk my talk. And I'm strong enough to say, okay, come with me if you want, join me on my journey, but don't get in my way because I'm going there anyway. So if you can embrace a difficult life, understand you're strong enough to survive any difficulties, and know that you're born into it for a purpose, because your life purpose is attached to how you start this lifetime. But it all depends on whether you're going to embrace that or kind of give into it. And, that is, if you embrace it and learn your lessons and use those lessons to help others, then you can have a really wonderful life ahead. But you won't know exactly where you're going, because that's what life's about, full of surprises. But you will know, you will have the strength to walk your talk wherever it takes you. So those are the cards.
Thank you. So I'd like to ask everyone to join me in an intention. And I mentioned it yesterday, and it came up again today, similar reading about holding the intention that humanity will not need to use trauma and drama any further to evolve or grow. And I agree. You hear all kinds of stories about people that have gotten sick and said it was the best thing that ever happened to them because they realized what's important to them, or they started a new mission, or they started a new foundation. And I am here to say that humanity, it is possible to start that foundation, to have that mission without first experiencing the trauma. That is where I believe we are headed. And I ask everybody to join me with that intention to ease humanity's suffering. That being said, there's one little point, a little turn I want to take from everything Sue, because I have nothing to add to anything that she said. But it's also, people have also signed up for a difficult life in order to set the scenario for others to help. So there are starving children in the world who have, on a soul level, and I know this is hard to hear, have agreed to experience that for their own evolution, but also to be a partner in our evolution. So those of us who have started foundations or given money or given food or whatever to support the less fortunate, they have agreed on a soul level to be that catalyst for us stepping in and helping. So that being said, if you are someone who finds themselves in one of those dreadful situations, please allow others to help you. Please allow others to gift without feeling guilty, without feeling like you need to repay. Of course, if you can and want to, fabulous, but no guilt around that ability or accepting of those gifts, because I know that some of our journeys have been set up so that others can come into our lives. And we can't deny that ability or that mission that they may have. So please allow the give and take. Please allow the flow, the ebb and flow of fortunate and not fortunate in each of our lives, and allow the collaboration to occur, because that's what's going to lift us out of this humanity muck that we are in right now and into something better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're in the confusion we're in at the moment.
Yes, correct. Second time that card came up.
Yeah.
So we will see you tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, and share.
And it's bye from me.